to me to put a quick post up about how I've been in chronic pain for over 2 years, and so I thought I'd share my story. It first started in 2014 in May, and I got felt like I had kidney pains. Like all of a sudden I woke up in the middle of the night with like excruciating pain in my kidney. And so the next day I drove myself to the hospital in town, and I said I thought it was my kidneys, and they did a test and my urine was fine, and then they just pretty much assumed, because I was a personal trainer, that it might have been a muscular thing and that it would just go away. So then I just went and seen a doctor. They said just go and see a doctor and look into it. So I went and seen a doctor and told him the story, and by then it had been like 2 or 3 weeks and it hadn't gone away, it got worse. And he booked me in to get a CT scan, and then the results from the CT scan showed up pretty much nothing. There was like lymph nodes near my appendix that were a bit abnormal, but I was not having any appendix type pain. Like they were doing the push test and I wasn't really in pain there. And so I had to get a colonoscopy, and so since the first day it had now been like 3 months, and I'd been in chronic pain like for 3 months, like excruciating pain in my back right like kidney area, and in my pretty much my side. I would kind of wrap around the front lower right, but not too much. And so gradually it just went away after like 3 months. I don't know, I don't really remember, but it just kind of drifted away, the pain. And then I was alright for, I got back on doing the things I always used to do. I'd surf and train and everything. And then November 2015, bang, it happened again. Like I could feel a kind of niggle in my back, and then it just was flared up in a matter of days. Like it was just like bang, in excruciating pain in my back, lower back right side area, and it would wrap around my front. And so again I went to the emergency department, and because I'd had similar pain a year before and I'd had all these tests done, they just assumed that it was and there was no results. The doctors there said it was a muscular thing again, and they got me to go to a physio, and I had like 3 to 4 weeks off work, and I was getting cupping done on my back and spooning and physio work, and after 4 to 6 weeks I had to go back to work, and there was no improvement from day one till 4 to 6 weeks later. I was still in pain in my side, pain around my front. It was hard to bend down. I was in just heaps of pain. So then I went and seen another doctor and said, look, this isn't getting any better. Oh, back in 2014 when it first happened, I actually went on antidepressants because I was that low that I was depressed from being in pain and losing the things I used to do in life, like surfing and training and stuff. So I actually went on antidepressants, but after 2 weeks, they gave me a headache, so I went off them. That was NDEP. But yeah, so back in, now we're in 2015, it had been going on again for like 2 months, and it was now January 2016 or February, and I went and seen a doctor, and the doctor who I had been seeing had retired, so they put me with this other doctor who was really good, and they said, I think you've got post-hepatic neuralgia. And so they explained what it was. It was like shingles, but it's after shingles, and there's no rash or anything like that. But they kind of assumed that I'd had shingles when I never had shingles, but I just went along with it because it was I just wanted answers. So then he prescribed me Lyrica. He had me on 75 milligrams twice a day of Lyrica. Yeah, once in the morning, once at night. And instantly the Lyrica took my pain levels from about 80% of the day down to like a 25%. There was hardly, my pain levels dropped completely. I could actually get on with life. And this is after another 3 months of constant pain, like never-ending pain. Never went away. And so then I was on Lyrica, and I just assumed I had post-herpetic neuralgia. So that was from February, March 2016. And so I was on Lyrica the whole time. And I could still feel like a niggle in my back. Like some mornings I'd bend down to do something, and it'd be like, oh, I could feel like something wrong with me. So but I just assumed that it was post-herpetic neuralgia. I kept going back to the doctors because I was like, something's just not right. And I had MRI scans booked in. I actually had MRIs done of my neck because they thought it might have been something linking down my spine to that area. I had an MRI of my thoracic to check out if there was a bulging disc or anything like that. And every test I had, there was no evidence of anything wrong. So my spine looks good. I had a bone scan, a bone density scan or something, and that came back fine. My nerves looked good in my spine. Every test that I had came back looking like good. So then it was December 2016, so that's like 3 months ago. 3-4 months ago. And the pain, I could feel it in my back, lower back again on the right side. It felt just like I had a bad back, and for a day or two I was just like stretching my back around going, I must have done too much. And then within like 4 days, it was just like my whole insides felt like they were going to explode, like they were inflamed. It would wrap around to like this area around here. It would just wrap around from here, the whole, and be down there. And so I was just over it. All I could do was lay on the lounge, just in pain. Like I couldn't do anything. Like if I sat, I'd be in pain. If I'd have to lay on the floor, pretty much. And I was still in pain. I was taking painkillers, and I'd had enough because I'd pretty much been in pain over 2 years, taking medication that made me feel weird. The Lyrica made me feel like glitchy, like it would give me, even though my vision is good, it would feel like my eye tracking was just off, like the connection to my brain was off because of the Lyrica. It would make me it would kind of make me dizzy. And so I wrote a letter so that I could take it to a doctor so I could just get some answers, because I was pretty much depressed because I was just over it. I was over being in pain, not being able to do the things I could do, and I just wanted help. So that was in December. I took this letter to a really good doctor who Tamina was seeing, who's helped Tamina out. And as soon as I gave her the letter, she looked into more the mental side of my mental state, she was really concerned that I was suicidal maybe, because I was in a bad place. And family history, I have had a brother who's committed suicide, and so the one thing she could do, she thought, was help my mental state. So I just wanted to fix my physical problems. So she didn't really get any tests done for me. She made me see, she ran blood tests and that, but all the blood tests come back fine. And I think I had another, she didn't do any x-rays or anything. She was more worried about my mental state. And in the next couple of weeks, the pain got worse. And as the pain got worse, I'd go to emergency. I went to the emergency in Milton, and they looked at my history. And because this doctor that I was now seeing said she thought I had anxiety and depression caused by pain, the doctors seen that and they were just like, oh, you've actually got, your tests are coming back, there's nothing wrong. People are trying to help you, but it says here that you've got anxiety and the pain's intensified by the anxiety. And I was going in there in pain, like fucking extreme pain. What's a person in pain look like? Like, they look like someone who's anxious. Sure, I was anxious because I was in constant pain. And so then she got me to see a counsellor and put me on Prozac or Lovan, which helped because my mental state was I was in a bad place because I wasn't getting any help from doctors. I didn't know what I was going to do in the future because I couldn't work. I was struggling to work. And yeah, so she put me to see a counsellor, which kind of helped, but not really, because they were just saying your mind has to overcome the pain, because they still thought it was all in my mind, the pain. And I just have arguments with doctors because it was so frustrating. I'd go and beg a doctor for help. I'd end up crying in pain and begging them, and they'd still send me away and think that it's all in my mind. And in the end, I was just helpless. I was just like, I just had no idea what to do. She sent me to a specialist, and same thing happened there. They just said pretty much, sometimes people have pain that won't get resolved. They just have to go through life with pain. And I just wouldn't take that. I was adamant there was something wrong inside me, and I just wanted some answers. So I actually wrote down things like, chronic appendicitis, I looked it up, celiac disease, spinal tumours. I was Googling stuff that was not, doctors wouldn't look at because they just were ruling things out. So in the end, I went to emergency in Milton probably 3 to 4 times between December and January. I actually had an ambulance come to my house one night because I was felt like I was having a heart attack from the pain, but it pretty much was just a panic attack because the pain levels were just constantly through the roof. And then I went back to Milton Hospital again and got no answers. And pretty much the doctors then, because I'd been to the emergency so many times in a couple of weeks, looked at me and went, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to send you to Nara? What do you think's wrong with you? And I said to heaps of doctors, I think it's my appendix. I think I've got chronic appendicitis. And they would do the push test, and I was in pain, constant pain anyway, but because the push test didn't make me scream, they were like, nah, I don't think it's your appendix. And my stomach was really hard. I don't know if it's because I got like strong abdominal muscles or what, but my stomach was always really tense. And so then I drove myself to Nowra Hospital, went in there, told them the story, and the same thing, they looked at my history, and it's just confusing. It says like, there's nothing wrong, it was muscular, then it's a nerve problem, then it's anxiety. Like, all of those things were making doctors look at me like I was crazy. And so I asked for a CT scan because I hadn't had one in ages, because I thought it was my appendix. I was like, it's my appendix, and they were looking at me thinking, no, I think it's your bowel. You got some sort of bowel problems or... So got the CT done, and then the nurses came back and said, well, it looks good, because I was in so much pain. Everyone could see I was in pain. It looks good. Your appendix is actually inflamed. It looks like you're going to have surgery. So I was like, fucking, thank God. No, 2 minutes home. Yeah, so then the doctor who seen me came back and went, yeah, looks like your appendix is inflamed. We'll get the surgeon to come in and see what's going to happen next. So then the surgeon came in, did the push test, looked at my history and went, look, I don't think it's your appendix. Can you go back to see your doctor on Monday and we'll work something out from there? And I was just like fucking helpless again. I was just like, I need fucking help. Like I'm at the edge. I can't take much more. Like the pain I'm in, I can't take it anymore. By the Monday, I went to see my doctor and I could not walk. I couldn't dress, like I wasn't dressing myself anyway for the 2 weeks before that. I was not able to walk. I couldn't even talk. I was pretty bad. Like I couldn't talk. I was in tears when I tried to talk because I was just in pain. I've never cried in pain before, but I was crying in pain, helpless. I was pretty low. So then he did the test on my stomach again, and he was like, I don't think it's your appendix, but I want you to go back to Nowra Hospital, get admitted, and we'll see what happens. And so Tamina and her mum drove me to Nowra Hospital. I got admitted into the hospital. I got in the little gown, got the tag on. They said that I was going to go into have my appendix out because that's what they assumed it could have been. I got wheeled into the anaesthetic room where they knock you out. The surgeon came over to my stomach and went, does it hurt here? Does it hurt there? After a couple of pushes, and I was like going, man, I'm in pain everywhere there. Like it hurts everywhere. I don't know what you want me to say. He asked me about my past, and I went like, they've diagnosed postherpetic neuralgia. They thought it was a muscular thing, and I've had all these tests. And he went, nah, I'm not doing surgery. I don't know what's wrong. Nah, I'm not doing it. Nah, wheel him back, wheel him out. And so I was just like, oh, fuck. What do I was just like, how do I get help? Like, what do I do? Like, I'm at the hospital, I'm in surgery, and they're still not helping. And so I got wheeled back into the 23-hour ward, and I was just like broken. Like I was mentally broken. I was already mentally broken, but I was just mentally, yeah. And then 9 o'clock that night, the surgeons came back around, and I went, look, obviously there's something wrong inside you. What we'll do, we'll operate and we'll take your appendix out and we'll have a look through your bowel and your gallbladder and everything and see if there's anything abnormal in there. And we'll go from there. And so that's what they did. They operated on me. They took my appendix out, blah, 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 blah. Apparently my appendix was a different colour and there was poo in the opening of the appendix, which shouldn't happen because it's got like a filter or something like that. But it wasn't burst, and I haven't got the results back yet because it's only been like a week since the operation. So I've got to go and see my doctor to see what the story is with the appendix, if it's if it was had pus in it or if it was, yeah. But I think because I'm not in pain anymore from the pain I was in a week ago. I mean, the surgery pain's disappearing and I'm not in any pain. So I reckon for 2 years plus, I've had chronic appendicitis that has flared up for 3 months and gone away, and then flared up and just lingered for ages. Oh, there's Tamina mowing the lawn. But the doctors wouldn't say or diagnose me with chronic appendicitis. Every time I'd bring chronic appendicitis up at emergency rooms, they would not go for that because they only think that acute appendicitis is an emergency room issue. Where chronic appendicitis, it's not an emergency room issue. But I've been in pain. If people know me, they've seen how much pain I've been in and how mentally I deteriorated from an active person to in a dark place. I was in a dark place. But now I'm on my way back. So anyone out there who has got pain similar to this and they think that it's chronic appendicitis and all your tests are coming back clear, just keep pushing it with your doctors, because in the end you can't live life in pain. Like, it's not right to have to live in pain and hospitals send you away. But luckily I got family who looked after me, and yeah, all is good. So I hope you like this random rant, this story, and hopefully you'll see me on the mend in the next couple of weeks and months. Alright, thanks guys.